can't take it anymore, Harry. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off!
That's kind of fitting. Blind man's bluff. Then they gave the bird to a blind man.
Petey? You sold my dead bird to a blind kid? Harry, I took care of it.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
I love it when he's on the news.
We'll be back in a minute with the heartbreaking story of the blind Rhode Island boy who was duped into buying a dead parakeet.
I just thought he was real quiet.
There's a story inside every smoke shop, with every cigar, and with every person. Come be a part of the cigar lifestyle at Boveda. This is Box Press.
Welcome to another episode of Box Press. I'm your host, Rob Gagne.
And I'm your other host, Nate Beck.
And today we are continuing on with our Big Brother, Little Brother series, where we are trying to figure out if in a cigar line, if they have like a bottom end, more economically friendly cigar and a high end, more not economically friendly cigar, but, you know, very similar. To see if you can kind of bounce between the two, or if you want something a little bit more celebratory, you can do that. Or if you really like the celebratory stick, but you can't afford to always smoke that, you can go down to the budget-friendly stick.
Yep.
So we kind of had to, we pushed down the boundaries a little bit this time because we're doing Caldwell, but we're also doing Lost and Found. They're extensions of each other, I would say, but overall, they're definitely not from the same, I guess, company.
Right.
So
they're sort of like adjacent companies,
we're
right?
pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
The consistency is Robert Caldwell, right? Mm-hmm. With Lost and Found, you bring in Tony Bellotto, who does a ton of stuff. He has a really cool coffee company that we were actually just looking up. Youngstown Coffee Company.
Yeah, based out of Youngstown, Ohio.
And amazing, like single origin Ethiopian. You can get like a full pound for $20.
That's really a good deal.
Shout out to Tony. We just got off the phone with him actually because we were trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this 22 Minutes to Midnight series. Because the Maduro, which we have,
can see that here
is 1138, and then the other one that's Robert Caldwell's blend is 2338. And apparently this whole series came about because when they were first starting Lost and Found, Tony was getting some of these cigars from Robert, and Robert was saying, "Here, smoke these, let me know what you think." Now these are all cigars that were already pre-rolled, they were just sitting there, and they thought, well, there's not enough for any one major brand to do anything, but these guys thought, hey, maybe we could bring these to the world. Well, Tony ended up smoking, I think he said the pepper cream soda.
Mm-hmm.
And he texted or called Robert at 22 Minutes to Midnight saying, we got to do something with this.
Yep.
It's too good to just like let it go undiscovered or unshared or any of that. So that was basically the foundation of what started Lost and Found. Now, come full circle.
Delicious.
These two cigars that are 22 Minutes to Midnight, there's four in the entire. There's a Connecticut, we got the Habano, then there's a Criollo,
yeah.
Corojo maybe.
Corojo sounds right. Criollo is the 22 minutes to noon.
Yeah, and then the Maduro, that's what we have.
Yep.
Sorry, can't keep them all straight.
So there's two in each. Two in the 22 minutes to noon and two versions in the 22 minutes to midnight.
Right. But they're all labeled as 22 Minutes to Midnight. Just the number changes and the person who signed it.
Oh, cool.
Anthony Bellotto, Tony Bellotto signed the 1138 boxes. Those are the blends that he did.
Yep.
And the 2338s, the Connecticut and the Habano, are the ones that Robert did. I love Habano. So you were smoking this one, the Gold Band 2338 by
Yep.
Robert. It's the Habano.
Yep.
You said this was really good. I was like, oh, really?
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I said, we should do a Big Brother, Little Brother series because it's like a $19 stick, roughly, you know? So then we came up with the Blind Man's Bluff, the Habano, and the Maduro. And in fact, it's working really, really well. All of these are smoking really well together. And I don't think they intentionally did any of that.
Yeah,
at
so
all.
we've got Blind Man's Bluff here and the 22 Minutes to Midnight Habano here.
You know, there
and-
was no intention, you know, like we're the ones doing this, not them. Like they don't know that, oh, yeah, that's a.
And yeah, and according to Tony, the tobaccos that are in the 22 Minutes to Midnight cigars are 15 to 18-year-old tobaccos.
On average.
On average.
So that's the average.
And according to a couple of other sites I was looking at, some of the cigars, the age actually can push closer to 25 years. So that's the average age of these tobaccos.
And I was asking him, I'm like, you know, oftentimes when a company will tell, you know, 20-year age tobacco, I'm like, yeah, whatever, like how much? Mm-hmm. But what he's saying is that it's a majority. That's why the average comes down to like 15 years because they're trying to use all the tobacco that's basically been kind of overlooked.
Right.
I said, well, what's the premise of that? And he's like, well, if you're a bigger cigar company, you're not going to make a box, a band, and a brand for 20,000 sticks, 5,000 sticks. But these guys will because the whole premise is to just say, hey, this is something that could be done and make a, you know, band out of it and release it. So I think one of the cool things about Lost and Found is this opportunity to try some unique stuff,
Man.
but it's also probably some stuff that you may not ever be able to get again.
Yeah.
Hence the whole, you know, Lost, Found, and then they should almost finish it with like, well, gone again. Like, just gone.
That's the next brand. Gone
Yeah,
again.
Gone again. Because it's not coming back.
Yeah. I will say, Rob, this is the first time where we've smoked multiple cigars where I really feel like all four of these cigars are forming like a really cool like combination of flavors. Like everything
yeah.
really is pairing very, very well. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I was hesitant to do all four of these because I wanted to do the Maduros up against each other and the Habanos up against each other. But now I find myself cutting across like Habanos and Maduros, and it's like it's still working really well, which is really surprising to me because even on this 1138 Maduro, this is a Mexican San Andreas Maduro.
Yep.
Whereas the Blind Man's Bluff,
yep.
Bluff, that is a broadleaf Maduro.
Gotcha. Which is a pretty
Big
usually
difference.
dramatic difference in flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, big difference. You know, we're not even like really sticking with the same leaf here. We're just, you know.
And Rob, I just noticed on the side of the band here, it's got Donley Honduras.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yep.
I think they're all made in, but then they also have some Nicaragua stuff.
Sure.
But it just could be that they're all rolled in Honduras.
Yeah. All four of these are really good. I agree with you. For sure, these Blind Man's Bluffs, either one of these is box worthy.
Totally.
Totally box worthy.
I've
What are they going for a stick?
had, I'll have to look on a different website here real quick.
I bet these are what, $8, $9 a stick? Somewhere in that wheelhouse?
Well, I got an invoice right here. What did I pay for them? Damn it. I have to do math.
What do we got there? 4?
$34.
So $35. You got
Yeah.
$8, $8.50.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, less than $10, and I've
Basically, we'll say
always-
$9 a stick.
I've always had an affinity towards the Blind Man. I don't think I've had anything in there, although I don't know if I've had a ton of stuff, because there is quite a bit. More than I thought. They have a Connecticut. Didn't know that.
There's a lot of options.
They have a Nicaraguan. Didn't know that. And then the Maduro. So I've only had the Maduro and the Habano.
These are really great.
I'd be tempted to try the other ones for sure, based on my experience.
I think we need to get a purchase order together, Rob.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, for science.
For science.
Yeah, seems like the right thing to do.
And shout out to Zach, who sent us a box of the Maduros. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, buddy.
And we got another cigar waiting in the wings that we'll have to do something special with.
Yeah. That was a tough one. And it's, should we name it?
We should.
No? Yeah.
We should.
It's what is the name of it?
Long Live the Queen.
Long Live the Queen.
It's absolutely spectacular.
Unbelievable. Sick.
Spectacular.
But the wrapper on that is Cameroon, so it's like there's no big brother, little brother.
No.
And there's nothing inside Caldwell's
Nope.
repertoire that's like anything Cameroon.
It's just really special.
So I was
and
like, well, what are we going to do with that?
I'm a nut, like you are with Habano. I'm a nut for Cameroon wrapper. I have found as of late.
So we're going to obviously do something with that cigar, but what should we do with it? Go ahead and put some comments in the YouTube or wherever you find this. You can even send us emails at info@bovinainc.com. What should we do with Long Live the Queen?
And if you follow us on
Cameroon.
Instagram, drop us a message on Instagram.
You can always direct message us.
It's Bovida_Rob and Bovida_Nate.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah,
because
give us some ideas.
I got an idea possibly of putting it up against some other Cameroons,
I was
but
just
I'm
thinking
not
that.
sure if that's going to be like, I'd like to hear what other people are interested in. Is it putting up against other Cameroons? Is it putting up against other things in that Caldwell line, like Long Live the King? Because he has a bunch there too. It's like, and there were so many like small things that he's done with Long Live the King is Dead. There were a ton of different things on small batch that I saw. I was like, holy cow, like all of this is just a ton of different blends. In my opinion, I have no idea where it all starts. And that's where Caldwell gets a little confusing for me.
Yep.
It's like where, with everything going on, what is it, where is it from, and how do I obtain it? Because
I like it, and it also can be confusing. There's not a lot of ubiquity in their different brand lines or their different product lines, but I think it's super cool because it's so creative. But
Super creative.
It's hard to classify like families of these cigars because a lot of them seem to be, I don't want to use the term one-off, but they're sort of standalone.
That's a great question to everyone out there is like, do you even like cigars that are, let's take the Lost and Found, for instance. Mm-hmm. Do you like that or not? I personally like it.
I do
because
too.
I get to try something probably that punches way above its price point. Mm-hmm. And no one else is going to do anything with that tobacco because it's so limited. But then it negates the fact that I'm like, oh, I really like that.
I know.
Can I buy a box? Probably not.
And you get to the end of a cigar like those Lost and Found Antique selections, which you and I were both fortunate enough to smoke through a bunch of those. And you get partway through the cigar and you think, I better like consciously think about enjoying all of this because I'm not getting this again.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you remember what that tasted like.
We got that in our My Cigar Pack. Mm-hmm. That was super, super nice to try all those cigars. And what Tony said about those cigars is the antique line is the year that the cigar was rolled is what was on the band.
Yep.
So not the age of the cigar necessarily. Like the tobaccos might be even way older. So like some of those had like 2003.
Yeah.
Like
2012,
What?
2014, early 2000s.
that's a 20-year-old stick.
But the tobacco is much older than
Right.
that. Yeah.
I don't. That's it. So there's a give and take there. It's like, oh, really cool opportunity to try something, and then it's also like, dang it, I really like it. Can I get more?
No.
So that's why I say it has to finish with the gone.
Yes.
Lost, found, gone. See ya. Not coming back.
Goodbye.
But it is, when we were just talking to Tony, the Lost and Found series he said was kind of, it's pretty much done. There's not like a ton of tobacco or cigars sitting around anymore. What they're going to do now is roll cigars with aged tobacco that's just sitting around and doesn't have a lot of play in major cigar brands. And then they're going to make cigars just like these 22 minutes to midnight. So this is pretty much the new launch.
Yeah.
of
Which is a
the
cool
Lost and
idea.
Found yeah, amazing.
Because I got to imagine tobacco producers or brokers, have lots of tobacco that could make a few thousand boxes.
Right.
And those are prime territory for smaller producers. because they are able to do lots like that and do, a limited run of cigars, which I think is really cool. But a Fuente and a Davidoff, they're not going to do that unless they're just putting out a
can't.
very limited cigar. They just aren't going to do that.
Yeah,
they're not
you
going to
just
take a
can't.
run with that.
You and I smoked the $500 Davidoff Oro Blanco.
Yep.
Extremely unique stick.
Yes.
You can already tell with, not that this is anywhere close to that, but you can start to tell refinement out of tobacco, aged tobacco. And I can tell right here, like between the Blind Man's Bluff and these, there's a different set of refinement.
Yes.
So I am able to taste a difference in quality. What I like about this one, though, in particular, is the quality and refinement is much more muted. Like you can really jump between them and not be like, whoa, like
Absolutely.
when we did the video of like, can you taste quality in a cigar?
Yes.
That Alfonso like hung out on its own on an island. I was like, these
Way out
cigars
there.
can't even touch it.
Yes.
Which I think is unique here, where that Blind Man's Puff is approaching this hands down very easily.
Yeah, like I've noticed in these 4 cigars, of the 4, the Blind Man's Bluff Maduro, really the only difference I'm getting between the other 3 is it's got just a little more kind of pepperiness, sharpness on the retrohale. And then this would be next, and then these 2 are just really soft and creamy on the retrohale. Like there's just
Yes.
none of that pepperiness, none of that burn. Just really beautiful cigars. But all 4 of these have this like underlying creaminess that just all plays well together. It'd be like having 4 different versions of, I don't know, like a latte or coffee. Maybe
Right.
maybe these are just coffee with more or less cream. One might be a little stronger coffee, one might be a little bit more mellow. And these are like a beautiful, I don't know, cappuccino or latte that's going to have that just really soft creaminess that everything just blends together.
You're talking about the 22 minutes.
The 22 minutes to midnight, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony made a great point in talking about age. Age doesn't always mean better.
Yes.
Because in a lot of things that people consume with significant age on them, cigars, wine specifically, spirits, there is a point at which, at a certain age, the flavors start to drop off and you get more muted kind of, he used a great description, like musty smell of a basement,
Right.
kind of, earthy, minerally, chalky flavors that are just kind of muted. But if you get it at the age where everything has really come together, then it's spectacular.
Yeah, that Blind Man's Bluff Maduro is sharp on the retro.
It's so hard to not say Blind Man's Puff.
Yeah, man. I'm struggling really hard over here. Blind Man's Bluff.
Bluff. The BMB.
And it must be because of the Blind Man's Puff website.
Yes, of course. Of
So-
course.
Now we're smoking 4 cigars. It's hard to keep them all lit and straight in my head. Just went from the Habano Blind Man to the 22 minutes to midnight Habano. Oh, that's good. It's funny how they don't compete with each other,
No.
which we've experienced before, where it's like, okay, one is more harsh, more astringent, maybe.
These are like an all nice round flavor.
Yeah. I think of the 2 Blind Man's Bluffs, I always gravitate towards the Habano, but I think it's nostalgic for me.
The Maduro or the Habano is
The
nostalgic.
Habano.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first cigars I picked up, and I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
I remember the first time I had a Caldwell cigar was from James down at Bern.
Sure.
Yeah, he was the one that introduced me to Caldwell cigars. This would have been, boy, probably close to 10 years ago now.
Do you remember which one you smoked?
Blind Man's Bluff was the first one.
Which one?
Boy, that I don't remember. I do know I also had the Eastern Standard, which I just smoked one of those yesterday. Another great cigar. The Eastern Standard was like, I'll often say if a cigar is like perfumey, I'll say it tastes like a good cologne or a good fragrance, and that Eastern Standard has a lot of that. because fragrances will have woody notes, they'll have earthy notes, they'll have vegetal note. They kind of get all these different layers.
The 22 Minutes to Midnight Habano, that one is very creamy. They don't even disclose any of the
No,
stuff
I had
in
to go
there.
out to a couple of retailers to see what their flavor descriptions were.
Yeah?
And both of these were like a couple that I read. This was like dark chocolate, cream, coffee. This one's like cream, nougat, even marshmallow.
The Habano.
The Habano, yeah.
The Maduro's more chocolatey.
Which makes sense.
They're both really good, though.
And especially because this is San Andreas. I often think San Andreas has a lot of chocolatey notes to it.
For whatever reason, I peg San Andreas with being more strength. And I don't know why that is.
It's funny because I would say I don't get strength from San Andreas, but I do say that about Broadleaf, which is the Blind Man's Bluff Maduro, correct?
Sure, yeah.
I generally think if it's broadleaf, it's going to have a little more punch, a little more of that dark coffee, dark chocolate, more robust, dare I say smoky flavors.
I definitely was getting...
Tastes like tobacco, Rob.
Yeah. I was definitely getting a smoky, almost like fire cured out of the Maduro.
You don't say. Wow. Did you say fire cured?
Kind of like a...
And I think that sometimes about broadleaf.
Yeah. Because it's
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania.
Yep. Almost sometimes
Black.
that like Latakia pipe tobacco kind of notes.
Right.
Which is if you've never smelled Latakia, it's an immediately recognizable scent amongst tobaccos. I particularly really, really like it. It's why I like
There are
Lafroig.
certain people that like smoke that on its own, and I would
I've met a couple.
when I worked at the smoke shop, I was like, "You just want Latakia? You don't want me to mix that with anything?" He's like, "Yeah, no, just Latakia." And then he would pack his.
You feel like they all have to say it that way. Yeah, I just really want Latakia.
Yeah, I just want. Yes.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Stop questioning me, you young stupid kid.
What the heck is wrong with you, man?
And then
Go.
he would pack his bowl and light it up, and I'm like, "Okay, alrighty then."
You feel like they'll look at you and say,
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
Holy cow! The whole. You can just
little
smell.
Napoleon Dynamite, and he dumps the whole tray of food over for the. Was Tina a llama, if I remember right?
Tina, eat. Eat the food. Eat the food!
Speaking of broadleaf, it's so interesting to me that both of those plants are grown predominantly in the Connecticut River Valley. And one is super light and delicate and thin, and the other is like a chunky bush and super robust and like thick,
Yeah.
strong leaves.
Yeah, broadleaf leaves. Mm-hmm. So I'm totally enjoying all of these. 100%.
I absolutely agree.
It's
All
really
four
hard,
fantastic.
really hard for me to say, like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I try to pick like a winner, like one that I gravitate towards, but I really can't.
Honestly, of the Big Brother, Little Brothers we've done so far, I would say these four cigars are ones that I would absolutely choose either any of these options
Right.
any time of day.
Right.
And I'd be very happy. So if you want a brand and a sort of Big Brother, Little Brother, if we can make it that, where you're really getting bang for buck on the Little Brother, this would be one of them.
Huge.
Huge.
Huge bang for buck. Now I need to go try the other ones in the Blind Man's Bluff category because I've clearly been sleeping on those way too long.
Let's get on the horn and order some boxes.
Yeah. Yes, please. And again, the Lost and Found series is a total blast. I'm looking at their
We're going
lineup
to call our
here.
finance department today and go, don't
Yeah.
throw up if you see the credit card bill for today.
Yeah, they got the instant classic, the pepper cream soda, and just the tip.
I've had just the tip.
15 minutes. 15 minutes of fame.
I am a child and I don't care.
What is this?
But I have not had the I've not had the pepper cream soda. Oh, that's the new nightstand. Have you ever had those?
No.
I've had previous versions of the nightstand, but I've not had this one.
So interesting. I'm assuming now they're just basically recreating the pepper cream soda and all these, like the instant classic, all the good ones. Which was funny, like you had said. Tony talked about smoking some cigars that were, lost. They found them, and then they said, no go. Like, too far gone.
Too far gone.
Which
Yep.
I totally understand, but I wonder if, we think of it as a bell curve, but I wonder if it's more of like a wave. Would
Maybe.
it come back? Would it come back and be better?
I suppose it's possible,
I have no idea.
but my guess would be no, but I suppose it's possible.
He did say, though, like, that funky basement, stale,
My
kind of grassy.
grandma's basement.
Yeah, grandma's basement.
That's what I'm remembering that
Really
one.
hard to get away from that.
And
as
I
soon
have
as that creeps in.
Absolutely, and I have such strong memories of that idea of grandma's basement because I grew up with a very large extended family that all lived in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And in the 60s, 70s, 80s, they all had small homes, but fairly good-sized families. So when we'd all get together for a big Christmas party, we'd have sometimes, I don't know, close to 100 people in a tiny house, and all of us kids would end up in the basement because one of the great aunts always had like one of those stationary bikes. And I remember distinctly one had the stationary bike that the pedals would keep turning once you got it going.
Yeah.
So you'd put all your weight on one pedal and just bounce
Yes.
up and down like a
Stand on
crazy,
it.
yes, like a crazy idiot. Grandma's basement is a very distinct memory for me.
See, and then see if you can get two people on each pedal going up and down.
And those
Two people
memories,
riding a
yeah,
bike.
and those memories for me are great because I think nowadays we think we have to have these huge houses in order to host a lot of people. You absolutely do not. In fact, the best parties that you ever go to are in the tiniest places because
Right.
everyone always ends up in the kitchen, wherever the
Right.
food is.
Yeah.
Nobody ends up in the great room.
No.
And nobody cares about the finished basement because it's cold and empty. And unless the whole party's there and there's a lot of entertainment, you'd rather be where all the people are. And so those tiny little houses are really nice, warming memories for me
Yeah.
because that was the idea of home. And all of them were unfinished basements, for sure. And they all had those woven braided rugs that were eponymous in Midwestern Scandinavian homes that got passed down to the kids. Yeah, it's just great memories, and tiny little couches. In fact, my grandma used to always call one of her couches the Davenport. I have no idea where that term came from, but it wasn't a couch or a sofa, the Davenport. Where the heck did that name come from?
I don't know, but it's definitely.
Do you want to sit on the Davenport? No, its couch is not very comfortable.
Did you have a grandmother that put plastic on the couch at all?
Thank God, no.
I did.
I had neighbors that had that.
I did. I had a grandma that put plastic on the couch. Boy, that thing looked good for a long time.
Sure it did. And the plastic was gnarly. I had a neighbor that had plastic on the furniture, and they were smokers, cigarette smokers, and it was orange. Oh, so gross. Height of summer, and you're just glued to that frickin' couch. You're like, ugh.
You know what? To be honest, though, I just don't see the point. What's the point of putting the plastic on there? You got to look at that every day. It looks ugly.
It's like houses that have a formal dining room.
Yeah.
What a useless thing to have in a house.
Right.
We have this one room that nobody can go in because you have all the fine china and all the fancy stuff. And you maybe have dinner there, Christmas and Easter? Maybe.
And Thanksgiving.
Nobody wants to touch it. Don't you dare lean back in a chair.
Right.
Ugh.
No, thank
so
you.
dumb. What? As they say, to each their own.
Right. Yeah, whatever.
I would rather have a nice, small, comfortable home and be able to spend money on cigars like this than to have all my money tied up in a bunch of stuff. That's just me.
Yeah, and what was funny too is when we were talking to Tony, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of a cigar hoarder," and I was like, "Oh, you are talking to the hoarder killer over here,
This guy.
Nate. He will smoke them if you got them."
Let me loose on your collection, and
Yeah.
I will make a significant dent.
Which I don't know if Tony was offering that up. If there's anything you really like, I probably have it. Well, all right, you want it smoked? Send it our way.
Let's text him.
Let's text him now. Oh, by the way, we want some originals of the pepper cream soda and the
Are you bored with your stuff, Tony?
Yeah.
I can help.
The cool thing about that is, I'm sure what he gets a kick out of is sharing it with people who enjoy it. if there's somebody who's like, oh, I really liked this and I can't find it anymore. And then he's the guy that can be like, yeah, I got that.
Yep.
I think that's why there's Herfadors and Muchadors and regular humidors. Like I always have a Muchador. Mm-hmm. But I then...
I have one here at the office.
Yeah, I peg people for that, right? Like they're not super into cigars.
Yeah, when I come back from the cigar shows, there are always cigars that I enjoy, but I'm probably not going to smoke nearly as often. Put some of those in the Muchador. Take some home, smoke them every now and then just to, make sure I try lots of different cigars. But then you have stuff that isn't going to break the bank and stuff that other people are going to really love and be able to try, and you put it in that humidor.
That's my favorite, is when somebody is a cigar smoker and then I pull something out and they're like, whoa.
And then both Rob and I have a drawer here at work where we put the nice stuff.
Yes.
And every once in a while we break those out if we really want to wow people. And then it's there for our enjoyment. What are you getting there, Nate? Nothing?
Or, yeah, just for yourself. It's like, dude, long week. Mm-hmm. Bust out the good humor. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's Nate smoking on Tuesday? Something good.
Something good. It's been a good one. Been a long week on Tuesday? Oh, shoot. Oh, man. So let us know what you think we should be doing with the Long Live the Queen. And if you've tried any of these cigars, leave a comment which one you like below. And as always, protect your humidors with Boveda. Cheers and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, folks.